Today's episode is brought to you by Drizzly. Beer, wine, and liquor delivered in under 60 minutes. Let's face it, we've all been in that situation where you forgot to pick something up and you just don't want to get back in your car and head back to the store and get it. Well, Drizzly has you covered. Shop and order from thousands of products from local retailers with absolutely no markup. Seriously. And if you head over to unitedwedrink.com/drizzly, DRIZLY, right now and enter the promo code DrizzlyDeal, DRIZLYDEAL, you will get $5 off your first order of over $20. Sit back and relax and order yourself a 6-pack or a nice bottle of Cab Sav or a handle of Buffalo Trace if you so wish. Do it all with Drizzly at unitedwedrink.com/drizzly, and then use the promo code DrizzlyDeal, DRIZLYDEAL, and you will get $5 off your first order of over $20. Drizzly, beer, wine, and liquor delivered in under 60 minutes. Must be 21 to use. Enjoy responsibly. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
There aren't enough beer podcasts in the world. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the first mini episode of 2020. Welcome to United We Drink right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as wherever fine podcasts are found. My name's Mike Urevich. I am joined by both my normal co-hosts, Phil Palmisano, Joel Codner. How you guys doing?
Happy New Year! I'm hungover.
I wouldn't say we're normal.
Yeah, well, my abnormal co-hosts. I think you guys are pretty lovely, however weird you are. Hopefully your New Year's are going just as well. We had a pretty good, passionate episode last week talking about mental health. Is there anything that anyone maybe felt like they forgot to mention or want to reiterate about that?
Not me. I just think that, we appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate the feedback we've gotten so far. And just keep the conversation going. I know we definitely plan to address the topic again at some point and hopefully get even more good feedback and utilize that in the next episode.
Yeah, those of you that have reached out, thank you. Thanks for sharing your own personal stories. You know, I think as we continue to progress and hopefully in the new year bring in some additional voices into this podcast, if we can ever figure out technology, we might be able to get some more spins on it and sort of different outlooks as well. But thank you for everyone.
And in my last call, I did forget to thank Michael Kaiser as well at Good Beer Hunting. Thanks for inviting me on and making me feel home in my hometown. So I appreciate you having me and look forward to seeing you again.
Awesome. And yeah, like we said, that's a conversation that should never stop. So let's just always be there for one another whenever someone needs a shoulder to lean on or cry on or an ear to listen. We got some Q&A here for this mini episode, and it's some really interesting Q&A because it is all from one person, but it is very directed at each one of us, our own questions. So different type of Q&A here, so we'll see how this goes. You too can send us questions for our Q&A sessions on the mini episodes. You can send it over on our contact form of our website, unitedwedrink.com/contact, or you can DM us on any of our social media. You can reach out to us individually, directly, and whatnot. So let's jump right into this with all of these questions coming from at JTK Brew on Twitter. I'll start this one off myself. So he asked me, Mike, what's a style of beer you'd love to really hone in on and try to perfect, but don't think will sell to the masses enough to give you the opportunity to work on it more than a time or two, if at all? I'm not a full-fledged brewer to where I'm writing recipes and working on the brew house all the time, so it's not really my thing. But if there is a style that I would love to and if I had my own brewery, work on more, it would be probably like English style beers. I really like English beers, especially mild and bitters and such. They just don't really get a lot of love in, especially in Florida and mostly in America. There's some great breweries in America that make great renditions of English style beers, and I love them, and people seem to enjoy them too. So I know there are people out there who enjoy those styles of beers. It's just a matter of finding them, but yeah, I would probably go with that. He then asks, Phil, what's the one thing breweries do that you wish they wouldn't? Is there something they unnecessarily do that makes your job harder?
Well, so I'm not on the wholesaler side, so I take this as more of a wholesaler question, and so I guess I can put my wholesaler hat on and think how.
Whoa! Look at that hat. That's a cool, crazy
it's
hat.
a nice one. It's a wholesaler hat. I would say probably the one thing that breweries do the most, that is probably the largest pet peeve of all of our wholesalers. That would probably be putting out a calendar without necessarily a plan and just expecting beer to sell itself. I don't think we're in that industry anymore. I think you need to have a plan. I think each beer needs to have its own purpose. In Florida in particular, we're a very heavy chain state. Obviously, people want to know where your beer is going to go. These days of literally just brewing a beer and dumping it on a wholesaler, in my opinion, are over. So I think that's probably like the number one pet peeve from wholesalers on suppliers. Now, on the supplier side, I don't really know. Honestly, I don't pay too much attention to what my competition's doing directly. I say that I do pay attention, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to push my business to be the best that it possibly can be. But yeah, I would imagine it's probably just the brew and dump method that no longer sits well with our wholesaler partners.
Mike, does that sound familiar to you?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Very well said, Phil. And then final question from at JTK. Why can't I say T? JTK Brew on Twitter. Thank you very much for sending these questions over, by the way. Joel, I see and hear a lot of disdain for homebrewers in the industry. Some of it I understand, some of it I don't. You and Mike have mentioned what not to do if a homebrewer is interviewing, such as being a pompous, self-righteous ass to start. As a homebrewer, what are some ways one might get to just have a beer conversation and not have you roll your eyes and say fucking homebrewers to yourself when I leave?
Well, I honestly, I've never said that. I don't know where he's getting that. I hope he hasn't had that experience with some brewers. And I would hope that there isn't disdain for home brewers. I mean, I know I've talked a lot about, like, it's not cool when home brewers are self-distributing and not paying taxes or getting formula approval and having tap takeovers all around town. But, you know, under the guise of such and such brewing company, and they got their official branded tent and all their merch and shit, and they don't even have a location. But, you know, I think we talked about before, like, it's not being, as he said, a pompous, self-righteous ass. I
think he's mentioning how we were saying, I don't remember, it was the getting into the industry, I think, episode, where we were like, don't give unsolicited advice on changing stuff to a brewer. They're probably not going to take that very well.
Right. I think I even saw today our buddy Bobby Bump on Twitter saying something about, like, you know, if you've never worked in this industry, don't tell me how I should do things and stuff like that. So there are people who aren't homebrewers who act like that as well. So I don't think it's just limited to homebrewers. I just think people should have a sense of humility. If it's truly an industry they want to get into and they're interviewing, you know, you should just approach it from a sense of humility and show some passion, come with the right mindset and mentality and work ethic. I think, you know, to me, it's not so much whether a person's a home brewer. It's just like, do I think this person has the right values about beer? Do I think they're going to put the beer before themselves? because I've always said before, the yeast doesn't give a shit if it's your girlfriend's birthday or, you slept late or, you got the sniffles today. Like, someone has to do the work. So I would hope that homebrewer or not homebrewer, when you want to have a beer conversation with a brewer, just be honest and earnest and cool. Like, just, you don't have to be a douchebag. And I think a lot of people don't even realize they're being that. A lot of times when it comes to like critiquing other people's beers, unfortunately, within the industry, sometimes we're not totally honest with each other. I mean, I would posit that there may be a lot of people in this industry, just like there are people, auditioning on American Idol who be like, oh, my friends tell me I'm the greatest. And it's like, well, your friends were just being nice and now you're here. So I think there's nothing wrong with homebrewers. There's something wrong with douchebags and like he said, pompous, self-righteous people. Doesn't mean they're all homebrewers. It just means that these people are out there. Some of them homebrew, some of them don't. And just if you want to talk to a brewer, go into the brewery, have a beer at the bar and ask if they're available. And, you just like to talk about the beer and solicit some advice or and some people are not open to criticism. I mean, it's not like every brewer is open to hearing any sort of criticism about their beer, especially if it's not constructive. And that goes into just reading reviews sometimes. It's a completely anonymous person. So, I don't know, I guess not really sure how to wrap this up, aside from saying, just be fucking cool. Don't, be nice. It's not that hard.
Yeah, definitely. There's ways of having great beer conversations with homebrewers all the time. I love when I was doing tours at breweries to get questions from homebrewers who are genuinely like, how can I do this better? How can I do that? What do you guys do with this? And stuff like that is always fun to be a part of a conversation with. And I try my best to, help them out too.
And when he says being a pompous, self-righteous ass, I mean, there are brewers like that. There are some brewers who think they're fucking David Copperfield and don't want to tell you a thing. When I do my tours, I tell everyone, ask me anything. I am an open book. I obviously don't know everything. I don't think there's any sort of level 100 brewer and then you're done. Processes and ingredients are always changing. There's always new hops coming on the market. So I'm happy to answer any and all questions. I would hope that, I could pass along knowledge or process or whatever it is and also learn from other people. But, I'm sure I've said on here before, I can't give you, like, legally, I'm not allowed to give you the recipe, but, what are the chances of you recreating that 100% anyway? But when you ask someone, like, what hops are in this? And they're like, the C hops. It's like, fuck you. Like, come on, just, what am I going to do? It's not the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices. It's not the formula for Coke. Like, let's not all be douchebags.
Yeah. Thank you again for those questions. Awesome stuff. Had fun with the specific questions being pointed towards us. Once again, if you have a question for the show, send them over to us. We'll read them on a future mini episode and answer them. Because it being 2020, Phil also wanted us to throw out some of our own resolutions for the industry in 2020. Right, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the industry, we all sort of set some goals, be it 2 or 3 a year that we want to accomplish, maybe more. Just sort of wanted to see where you guys were at. And do you have your eye on the prize in 2020 on anything in particular?
Reaching
Mike,
for the brass ring.
Mike, I'm going to turn the microphone back to you to start us off.
I want to do a live United We Drink episode in front of people, like human beings.
We tried that at one point in time.
That was also a long time ago.
Maybe with current technology.
We actually did 2 live episodes once. We did one at Coffee District that our audio was absolutely unusable because of background noise, and we knew so little about editing at that time. We just never released that episode. And then We did one at the Funky Buddha homebrew shop with probably like 10, 15 people. And it was more of just like a bottle share and hanging out with some friends and having microphones on at the same time. But I want to do one like you see some of the big podcasts doing, like how does this get made? I want to do the Largo Theater in Los Angeles. Well, okay, maybe not that big, but we'll start off small. Maybe if a local brewery down here wants to host us and allow us to talk to some people and talk beer for an hour or so, I think something like that would be a lot of fun. And then field some live Q&A.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Something else, and this might come across as like very simple and cheesy, but I want to brew a beer with Joel again.
Aw.
So I'd probably say those are my two resolutions. I'm keeping it very simple with one, and then the other one's a little harder to obtain.
Talk to your new boss, man. I'm happy to come through.
Yeah, I think we could make that happen. Joel, what about you?
I apologize. I don't recall this being talked about in the show planning.
It was right
it was
before
on the
we
Slack.
went live.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's why I missed it. Sorry. And kind of putting me on the spot. You know, on our last episode, I mentioned how I have a problem with consistency in many things. And
Like checking the Slack.
exactly. So I'm not big on resolutions. I don't like setting... I'm just not good at setting schedules and planning and shit like that. And like I mentioned last time, what I'm doing and where I am now is in a very weird sort of position that I don't fully want to get into on the podcast, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on and where it's going, but if there were any resolution I would have for this year, it's just to have more positive experiences, be surrounded by more positive people, and keep moving forward. My theme for 2017, like in 2016, I was doing very well professionally. I was moving up at the brewery I was at back then and got to go to UC Davis and then won the Siebel Scholarship from the Brewers Guild. And I sort of had this moment in time where I was kind of addicted to moving forward and like what's next, and then that eventually led to me, getting the job at my brewery and having some creative control and doing the things I do and having a good time with it. 2018 was just a crazy year dealing with opening a new brewery and everything, and then last year 2019 was kind of a living hell. So I kind of want some peace of mind this year. I want to just be able to relax and have some fun and not stress too much. Just have a good time.
Phil?
I'm looking at it at 2020 as sort of the year to continue to develop and hone in my skills. I want to continue to develop my coaching skills within my personal team, as well as my time management. Sales goals, I'm going to keep those sort of personal, but I do put a number that I want to obtain every year. It's a way for me. It's sort of that driving force. I post it on a Post-it note right in front of my face on my upper monitor so that I look at it every day and try and push myself and my team, my wholesalers towards that direction. And then I think in 2020, I want to challenge myself to continue to look at situations or start looking at situations in different lights and different perspectives to hopefully continue to develop and grow in unique ways and not necessarily the same path. Sort of challenge myself to take a different path every once in a while than what I might be comfortable with for the time being. Those are 3 things that I really want to focus in on this upcoming year.
Very nice. And thanks for bringing this up, Phil, in our Slack channel that we communicate with one another on. I think this was a fun little side topic to add in on the mini episode. It's time for some recommendations where we recommend you find folks out there, something in particular, usually not related to beer. I will kick things off here and recommend, it's in the drink industry and category, Basil Hayden's Caribbean Rye, a nice little Christmas gift that Joel gave me, and it is delicious. A little bit of like brown sugar sweetness in the nose and in the taste. but damn is this smooth. I really like it. So thank you, Joel, for that gift, and I highly recommend that.
That's awesome. Glad to hear it.
Phil, what do you recommend?
This week, I am going to recommend Twitter. I'm back. I'm back on it. I think you guys know about tweeting. I don't use it very well, but it's fun, and it's nice to actually. I get notifications actually when both of you guys tweet, but it's fun. I'd like to get better at using it, but it's sort of a way for me to get more connected to you, the listener, in 2020.
How about telling people what your handle is?
Oh, yeah. I guess you need that. It's funny because I think it's Dos Beerigos, DOSBEERIGOS. I could be wrong, but I was right. At Dos Beerigos. There you go.
I want to recommend Twitter.
I want to recommend the Twitter.
Said
yeah.
from a guy who doesn't understand Twitter, because no one on Twitter thinks Twitter's fun.
I love the Twitters.
I would never
doesn't know
recommend
his
Twitter in
username.
an election year.
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Joel,
Follow
what
me.
do you want to recommend?
Oh, Christ. I'm not prepared for that either. Sorry.
And this is not a new thing.
Yeah,
We
I
do
know.
this every mini
yeah.
episode.
I know.
It's like the
Well-
pancake breakfast. We do it every month.
I guess I will just recommend. I don't know. Fuck. I'm sorry.
I saw
totally-
Joker this past week. It was really good.
Oh, I loved it. I'm pretty sure I
God.
recommended that on another episode.
So disturbing how realistic that movie could be. He did a fantastic job playing Joker.
I still haven't seen it yet.
I'm honestly surprised it did not inspire all the horrible things that people thought it would, and I'm encouraged by that.
We had that conversation while watching it.
All right. So good recommendations, except for
Fuck.
Joel.
Sorry.
It is Phil's turn for a Spotify playlist, United We playlist. You can follow our Spotify account. Go to unitedwedrink.com/Spotify, and it will take you to the United We Drink Spotify account. And we put out a new playlist curated by each one of us every other week. And we have all of our past ones still up there. Phil, what are you, or actually, no, it's not Phil's turn. Phil, you were just 2 ago. I was the last one. It's Joel's turn.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Back
That's
to
right.
the top.
Yeah. Oh, and wait. I do have a recommendation. Sorry. No, I had this goddamn list on my computer, and then my kid installed some fucking game, and I had to do like a whole reboot, and I lost the open notepad that I didn't save because I was kind of listing like all the things that I had liked about 2019, and then like things that were disappointments, things that sucked, and shit like that. Kind of like a recap. The bacon. I was just telling you about this, Mike. The bacon fat popcorn at Revolution Brew Pub. Holy shit! It is like crack. I know I'm probably going to get canceled for saying that because crack is a real epidemic and whatever, but no, like I mean it in like the addicting sense. I had just popcorn and bacon crumbles and Parmesan cheese all over myself when I was there a couple weeks ago. I mean, that shit was unbelievable. I didn't know what to expect from it, and it was insane. So that is an amazing thing you must try with any number of their awesome beers there. And another thing that I loved about Chicago was I forgot how
This isn't
huge...
the Joel Loves Chicago podcast.
No, this is my this is going into my playlist. So I had completely forgotten how big house music was there, and there was nothing cooler than just like driving down that expressway at night with the skyline in the distance and just hitting that oons, 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 oons. And I've been playing nothing but that shit since I got back. So I'll be hitting the playlist with some of that. My daughter is hilarious. She was in the car with me and she started singing along going, boots and cats and boots and cats. So, yeah, I don't know. I found something soothing about it. Like no lyrics, no bullshit. It like all the songs just sort of meld into each other and just, it kind of chilled me out. So, yeah, I'm going to be hitting you with some of that stuff.
All right. Well, I think that about does it here for this mini episode. Thanks everyone once again for joining us. Check out our website, unitedwedrink.com. our social media at United We Drink on Twitter, at United We Drink Pod on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Listen to the show on any of the apps of your choice. We'll see you next week for when we're going to be talking about some industry projections. So be sure to tune in then. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye. Blah, blah, blah.